Hey everyone, welcome to Downward Dog Rising. I hope you're doing great. Today I'm going to work on tight hip flexors and what to do. If you have pain from sitting, I've been noticing how stiff my hips are when I get out of the truck after driving an hour and a half. Like I walk a little bit stiff and I can feel the front of my hips. So I'm just going to give you a little exercise to do to activate the true hip flexors. So we want to get our psoas to do the work. There's one muscle, also one of the quads can flex the hip, and I just want to make sure that the true hip flexors coming on line first, and then it can travel down the chain. We want certain muscles to do the majority of the work where other muscles assist. So I'll give you some hip flexor activations, and then core activation to stabilize spine, pelvis. We'll do some bridging, emphasizing glutes working, and then we'll do bridging where we just emphasize pressing hips to sky and opening the front of the hip. And then I'll show you a couple stretches with a yoga strap too, how to get into the stretch without actually cramping up the other side of the leg, the hamstring. Because I'm sure you've noticed you try to grab your foot, stretching out the front of the thigh, then you get a big Charlie horse in the back of the thigh. So I'll show you how to address that so you don't do that. Okay, let's get started then. We're gonna lie on our back. I have you can use a belt with your pants. Before I got a little yoga strap, I used to use a pants belt, the belt I wear with my jeans. You could use a yoga strap if you have one. Let's lie down. We're just gonna come down to our mat, and then basically I'd like for you to tighten your abdominals into your spine, and we never force our back into the mat. We don't push our spine down. So you have to pull inward. Now just focus on that for a second. As soon as you pull your abdominals inward, you should already feel the low back stretching longer into the mat. So you pull abdominals in, the low back stretches into the mat, release. Two more. Inhale, exhale, pull those abdominals in, release. One more. Inhale, and then exhale, release. Okay, so hip bones to sky, hip bones in the same plane of alignment as pubic bone, that's neutral spine. Tighten the core in and tilt pelvis, and then release. And I want you to do this without turning on your glutes. When we bridge, yes, we need our glutes, but we don't need our glutes here to shift our hip bones back. So scoop in, use your abdominals pulling in, and then feel it reach through into the low back, release. So you're just gonna go back, come back into neutral. So we're just doing this little posterior pelvic tilt, and then come back into neutral. 5, feel back, elongate into that. Why am I having you do this? As your hip bones roll back, notice that little stretch right there in the crease of each hip. Release back to neutral, tighten the core to your spine, peel back, release into neutral. Feel that space right there, tighten the core to your spine, release to neutral. Last one. Stay here, hip bones roll back, lengthen back against mat. Now I want you to do heel glides. So you don't want Pilates socks on if you're going to heel glide, because your foot won't slide or anything. So your hips are still posteriorly tilted. I'm doing that on purpose to give you more space. So your goal is to slide your leg down without going like that, without letting your hips roll forward. So keep a posterior tilt. How far can you slide your leg away? Inhale. Now you exhale, pull back in. Do one side. Focus. You want to feel it right up in here. Exhale, tighten core to spine. Inhale. Notice how my hip bones are not rolling forward or back. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, scoop core tight to spine. 5, we're work to do, you could do 5 to 10 of these depending on how it feels in your body. 4, inhale, ribs expand, exhale, 3 and 2, use your core. Last one, you're going to inhale, press out, exhale, return. Excellent. Okay, now what do I want you to do? I want you to take that same leg and you're going to let it stretch and just hug the opposite leg. And then feel the front of this lengthen. Just wait for a sec. Breathe in, let the low back fall deeper into mat. Exhale. Breathe in, exhale. One more time, breathe in, exhale. Good. Now let's switch. So take the left leg, it stays bent. Now you're going to take that right leg and slide it. So your hips, bring them neutral. They're straight. Tighten core. Heel back. Posteriorly tilt spine. Feel open space in the hips again. Now slide this other heel out. And then say you're super duper tight, okay, and it's locked. What if you start to go like this? What if you're in a tilt, the leg goes out, and immediately your pelvis comes forward? That means stop. You don't want to keep going down with the leg. So then what you would do is stop at that point and really focus on scooping, and then come back in. Keep the pelvis stable, use your core, and then you would just go to that point and see if you could just make it a little further but not force it. And you're just trying to not move the pelvis. 4, you inhale, exhale, heel glide back in. 3, inhale, exhale, glide back in. 2 more, use your core. Inhale, exhale, last one. Breathe in, exhale, come back. Excellent. So that leg just came back in. Hug this in knee to chest. Extend this other leg out. If you feel your spine pulling off the mat, you might not even go all the way straight. You'll see how you feel. Your back will be in neutral now. Inhale, exhale, release that back. Inhale, exhale, feel the front of this hip and thigh on that side stretch. Inhale, exhale. 2 more, breathing in. Release. One more time, breathe in. Release. Excellent. All right, so we're just working on that psoas activation, the true hip flexor, while keeping our pelvis stable, our spine stable. So this next one, you're in your neutral now. So neutral, tilt, posterior tilt back. Maybe you'll do a little anterior tilt forward where your back lifts. If that hurts your back, avoid doing it. Find neutral. Again, in between the 2 tilts, you're straight across. Okay, do little toe taps now, or heel taps even. Tighten the 2 hip points across, that anterior superior iliac spines, they pull across. Imagine them coming closer together. They don't actually pull across. I just want you to get your transversus abdominis to activate like a horizontal belt. Inhale, you're gonna lift the foot up, and then exhale. So I want you to get that true hip flexor to do its job. So we don't want to feel like we're shaking here. We just want to see if we can tighten our core. The knee lifts up, and then the heel taps down. Let's do heel taps today. Inhale, exhale. Your core tightens in. Breathe in, exhale. 8 more. Are you keeping your hips, pelvis stable? 7. Inhale, exhale. 6. Inhale, exhale. 5. Use your core. 4. 3. Inhale, exhale. 2 more. Last one. Come down. Same thing, but just relax for a second. Just chill. Let your body absorb what you just did. All right, you ready? So then you tilt back, come back to neutral, hip bones aligned. Now inhale, exhale, tap and lift, tighten your core. Breathe in, and you could always do less reps. If 10 reps is too much, then you don't have to do 10. Do 5, do 6. 5, tighten core. You inhale, ribs expand, ribs wrap. 3, inhale. Exhale, 2 more. Last one, breathing in. Exhale. All right, now we're going to bring this foot down. So you just did toe taps, heel taps. I did heel taps today. So keeping your pelvis stabilized, what I want you to do, press into all 4 corners of your feet. Make sure you don't have a pillow under the neck. Just keep the neck reaching long, weight across middle back. To find your shoulder blades, just lift them up, lower them down. That's the area that's going to be pressing into your mat. So you don't put too much pressure in your neck, cervical spine. 3, the blades go up, the blades go down. 2, last one. All right, stretch the arms long. When you're in the right spot, you'll naturally feel the collarbones widen a little more. It feels really nice when you find that right spot. You tighten in, engage glutes. Now stretch tailbone away. So you're going to be lengthening so there's no arch in the low back. You're going to feel the glutes are turned on. You'll feel them working. You can even touch them. Make sure they're working. Turn them on. The more kinesthetic awareness you could give them, touch, proprioception, kinesthetic awareness, think of recruiting them. Your abdominals tighten into your back. Bring hips down. And when you're pulling your abdominals in the whole time, the hips should come down at the same time. So your glutes are working. 4 more. Bring the hips straight down. So I want you to get your core working and your glutes working right now. 3 more. Tighten the core to your spine. 2 more. Last one, and we're going to change our focus from our glutes to the front of our hips. I want you to think of a hinge in the front of the hip. I want you to think of the elongation from that hip hinge down the front of the thighs, past the knees, and you want to make sure the hips never go way higher than your shoulders. Like you don't want to feel like the hips pop up and out, and it's a slope. It's a nice line so you don't go too high. So on this one, you tighten the core in. Now I want you to think of tailbone long. Now press those 2 hip creases away from you until you feel an openness travel down the front of your hip and thigh. You want to feel the openness travel down the front of the hip and thigh, and then come back down. So it feels a little different. Keep tailbone long. Your glutes are also engaged, but lengthen. Press the hip crease to the sky without losing your slope. So you're just keeping the length. Feel how you're pressing your hips to the sky. Open the front of the hips, lower pelvis down. We'll do 3 more of these. Lengthen, press hips to sky. You're still squeezing your glutes. Press hips to sky, scooping in. Let's do 2 more. Hips go straight down, hips lift up. Press hips to sky. This part's staying nice and long. Chest is open. Go straight back to mat. 1 more. Inhale, exhale. Tailbone stretches away from you. Chest open, hips to sky. Lower straight back down. All right. Now from here, I'm just going to ask you to release your hip and glute. Crisscross one ankle over your knee. Now in yoga, we might grab and hug knee to chest. I'm not even going to do that here. I just want you to basically crisscross ankle above knee, not on it. Anatomically, it would be above knee, but everyone else would think I'm below the knee. So however you want to call it, it's going to be on the thigh bone, the femur bone, between the hip and the knee. Now, what I want you to do, feel how we never put our weight on our kneecap. If you want, you could press the inner thigh a little bit away from you. See if you feel a slight openness right there in the crease as you gently press your hand just a little baby bit, just a little bit onto that inner thigh, getting a little more external rotation of that femur bone into the hip. Create a little space in there. Make a little space. And then release. Now you're going to take that leg down. Keep spine long, crisscross, opposite ankle over knee. And then if you have a tighter side, it's okay, no worries. We're not robots, so one side might be tighter than the other. Just let your leg hang here for a sec. Get that leg to externally rotate into the socket. Then we're going to take this hand, avoid going right on the joint, go to the inner thigh, and just put a little bit of pressure just to try to get that thigh bone to go externally, a little deeper. Just breathe. Breathe into it. Breathe, inhale, exhale. Get that hip. Feel like it's opening the space right at the top where that crease is in the front of your thigh. And then gently release. Excellent. Okay, so then what I want you to do next, if you have a yoga strap or a belt, I know I have one, here it is. You could use your pants belt if you don't have one of these. Good, I left my little loop so I don't have to sit here and do it. I can just put my foot through. And if you have trouble getting your foot, what you can do is bend the knee in, hug in a little bit like that, hug under the knee, and just loop it over your foot that way. So you just bring the leg in. Now your foot's in the strap, and then basically, I don't want to hike your shoulders up into your ears and get your upper body all tight and everything. So what you'll do, just relax your shoulders away from ears, bend both of your elbows, relax the elbows, they stay on the mat so you're not way up here. Now basically, hold hips stabilized, neutral spine, and I want you to reach down and then lift your leg back up. Down and back up. Just kind of doing like a PNF stretch, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. We're just going to move you through a range of motion, and then I want to stretch the back of the thigh. Maybe you can squeeze the front of the thigh, the quad here, and then relax, press away. Feel the hamstrings, the back of the thigh lengthen. Release, press away. 2 more. So we're just going to do a little moving stretch. Now just bring your strap. If your knee doesn't straighten, you don't have to force it. Just see if you could just get a little range there. Just try to straighten the leg. Your hips are straight. Little range to straighten out your leg. And then you can always pull it closer. Keep back down so you don't arch off mat. Just hold for a moment. Breathing into it, release. Breathe in, release. One more time. Now your 2 hips are straight to the ceiling. Now without turning your pelvis, can you reach away? You're going to get your inner thigh to stretch and lengthen. Come back in. So Pilates, we might call this 3-way stretch. In yoga, it's going to be part of the Padangusthasana, the ABC stretching. There's another Sanskrit word in front. I can't quite remember it right now. If I could, I'd tell it to you. So you stretch away from your center. Notice how my hips face the sky. Yoga, we might twist our spine here. I want to stabilize your spine. So you just keep the 2 hip bones, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock on the face of a clock. You can always tighten your core to keep stable through center. 2 more. On the last one, I'm going to have you hold it. So we're just doing like a little active isolated stretch. We move the stretch, we move the leg. Now we're isolating it and just holding it for a moment. Notice how the hips are straight up. I'm not rotating the pelvis. Getting that inner thigh. Now come center. And then if you need extra support, you could keep this leg bent so your back doesn't arch. If your back spine feels stable enough, you could extend this leg down if it doesn't feel like it's stable enough. And if it's too much to go across, notice how I'm not lifting up my hips and turning like that. For today's purpose, I don't want you to go like that where your glute goes off the mat. Keep your glute down, and then just see, can you start to go this way a little bit? You're gonna feel it in here. Toes, I'm gonna have you keep your toes up. It goes deeper when you turn down, but for now, if you're super tight, just go across. Keep the toes up. Release, come across. You could do it with your knee bent. And remember, you don't want to twist your sits bone off the mat. You're keeping it down. Reach across. You could experiment. You just reached across. Is there any going up, down, up, down a little? If it hurts, come back, release, maybe hug in. So basically, you're just trying to get down the outside edge of the leg, that IT band. You could experiment, turn from the top, rotate down all the way. If that's too much, stop, and then we'll release. So now we're just gonna take it off one foot. Maybe here's a way you could do it. Hug knee to chest, lift up one foot and just go like that, and then bring the other foot down. Relax both of your arms on the mat, lower, and then lift. So I just want to get some blood flow. Lower and lift, exhale. Notice how I'm not scrunching up my shoulders or anything. Back stays down. Maybe your range is more here. Your range is whatever it is, so you don't want to force anything. 4, and reach, and 3, and reach, and 2. Inhale, exhale, last one. And then you're just gonna hold for a moment. If it's tight behind the knee, maybe do this to get behind the knee a little bit. Get that hamstring. This might be better for you. You'll see which way works. Or you can straighten it, pull towards you this way without arching your back. All right, then we're gonna go to the side again. Your hips stay straight to ceiling. Your elbows are just down on the mat. Tighten your core in, stabilize the pelvis, feel inner thigh, come back. And then if your pelvis is stable, your spine is stable, you're not hurting anywhere, you could go like that, but make sure you don't turn your hip off the mat. Keep the sits bone down. You'll feel a stretch through the front of this leg, but it's more advanced. It's harder. 4 and 3, just reach out of your center. 2, last one, maybe hold. Maybe go up a little, down, feel at the top inner part of the thigh, down to the knee. And then you can always start to come across this way now. Keep the sits bone on the other side down. You don't want it lifting up. Your sits bone's down. Maybe this leg is bent just to give your spine more support. You'll see what you need. Maybe try the toes are up first so it's less, it hurts when you rotate down. So I'm just making it a little easier. So you just try to go over midline. We don't do that with hip replacements ever because you wouldn't want to pop it out. Now you would rotate this way just to get a little deeper stretch down the chain, down the side, all the way down. and you even deepen it, that might be too intense. You can see how you feel. And just stay here as long as you need to. This other sits bone stays down on mat to protect your spine from twisting. Come back center. Excellent. And gently release foot from strap. So I'm going to give you another one now for the hip flexor. So I shouldn't have told you to put your foot out of the strap. Let's keep the foot in the strap. And then I'm going to instruct so you don't get a big Charlie horse on the hamstring, the back of the thigh. You'll notice sometimes if you go to grab your leg like that already, like you'll have a huge cramp. I'm just trying to show you something so you don't get that. Just trying to get it into position to a stretch. When you're on your side, you might put a pillow under head and neck. So we're not bridging, so you could have support. You would turn. Okay, you're on your side. You have some support now. What I want you to do, so you don't cramp the back of your leg, notice how I start to bend my leg in, my knee, my hip, my ankle, everything's in alignment. I want you to keep your alignment as you go like this. Like you start to bend the knee that is in line with the ankle, the knee is in line with the hip. Now, is there any possible way you could just start to shift? You're already going to get a stretch. You could have the bottom knee bent for extra support, or you could have the leg straight. Depending on stability, you could have it bent a little easier. Notice how you want to elongate the tailbone away from you, and you want to gently press the hip bones forward. You could even bring your strap like over your shoulder, relax the arms. So basically, you don't want to cramp. Your tailbone needs to stretch away to create elongation, low back, and then really slowly, gently press hip bones forward. Any adjustments, go real slow. If it hurts the knee, then you would come back, release, adjust. So you're just trying to keep everything aligned, hip, knee, ankle, tailbone long. See if you could just breathe for a little bit. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. You're just trying not to arch the back, tailbone long, keep the spine supported. Inhale, exhale, and just stay here and breathe. And this should start to help you get a stretch through the front of that thigh and hip. Come back onto your center. And then you're just going to hug in. Take your other foot and then just turn your body over. And I'm going to face the other way so you can see. So you just switch sides. And if you do have a tighter side or you just wanted to stretch one side, it's probably good just to do your whole body, just to kind of uniformly stretch everything out. So you're on your side. When you're on your side, you might need a pillow to align. And if anything hurts, like the knee starts to hurt or any sudden sharp twinge of pain or something, then definitely don't stay in it. Come out right away. So you could start with the knee bend. So remember, come forward, knee, hip, knee, ankle, they're all aligned. And don't worry if your knee doesn't lift as high as this, it's fine. I'm just trying to keep your alignment. So as when you swing back, maybe you already have a stretch here. Maybe you have a stretch here. Here, you start to stretch your tailbone away from you and it elongates. And then you press the two hip bones, the ASIS on each side. You press those forward and just gently, maybe you have this leg straight. Press the hips forward. So we're just making sure we don't arch the back. Give some support to your leg. Keep the knee in line. So that hip joint's right in here. It's not at the outside of the hip. It's in a little bit, like in there. Bones in there. You're just breathing in, breathing out. Press the hip points forward, tailbone long. Breathe. You might even feel a stretch in through here a little bit. It starts to open right in here. And then you might even get something in that vertebra where it attaches to. So you have the origin and insertion points. Breathe. Keep tailbone stretching long. And then I'll have you just slowly release that leg then. And then you could just turn onto your back. And then I'm going to ask you to remove your pillow out of your head and your neck. And then you just take off that little strap, that belt. And then let's try another 5 hip hinge bridges. No block or anything under the neck. The weight's going to go across middle back, shoulder blade shelf. So you just tighten into the core. You're in neutral spine. Hip bones, same plane of alignment as pubic bone. And then what you do, you press into your feet, engage your glutes, tailbone long. Now press the hip hinge up as you press down into your feet. No weight in neck. And then you're going to slowly lower down. Your core tightens in. So the middle of the kneecap is over the second toe. We're going to go from the shoulder through that hip joint, straight down the thigh, center of knee, over second toes. You're just keeping everything aligned, okay? So you're just going to go straight up, press hips to sky, tailbone long, no arch in back, collarbones wide, lower pelvis straight back down. Let's try 3 more. Your glutes are engaged, the hips are open. Should feel a little better. I just had an adjustment in my sacrum by my tailbone, so it's all good. Lengthen tailbone away. Tighten core to spine. Last one. Use your core, and lower down. So these exercises, I'm putting them together in such a way to give you some relief for the hips. If they're tight, they hurt. It's going to be very helpful. And then I'm going to draw from yoga, restorative yoga. You can take, I'll do 2 things. Pilates strengthens the core, pelvic stability. Now, if you had a block, you don't want to put weight in the neck. If you had a block, you could literally slide it under your pelvis, give your body support, align. It goes right down the tailbone sacrum, and just relax here. You would just totally allow it to settle and just create some space that way. And you're going to feel, because you're not working hard now to lift up your pelvis, the muscles did the work before. Now you're letting your pelvis just settle into your yoga block and relax and release. So this will feel good still. You don't want to arch your back. Just kind of chill. If you have a firm pillow, you could prop up the back of the pelvis on a pillow, as long as your middle back doesn't sink into it, because I don't want you to compress, load the low back. This is a stretch lengthening, but I don't want you to arch your back. We want to keep it neutral. So you can just chill out here for a little bit, hang here. And then when you're ready, slide, slow, straight back down, core engaged. And it should feel like it's released through that tailbone sacrum. Now, taking 2 pillows, you can take a pillow off your bed, or if you have any throw pillows. Basically, we're stabilizing your knee joints. We're just in restorative yoga. You align your joints, and then you use props, and then you just make it more comfortable, and then you breathe. So we're just setting you up. You would place like a yoga block or a pillow, and maybe you could do 1 leg at a time so it's not overbearing. You would just keep the hips to the sky, and then you would just do a little half a butterfly. Maybe you'd have to put the pillow up higher to give your knee support. Your knee would drape out. You're going to feel that crease in the hip. We just want to get enough external rotation so that that femur bone has a little more clearance in there. Sometimes you get really tight, it can rub across something in there and it's going to be bothersome, like it impinges. So we want it to kind of open. So you're just letting your hip release on its own time. Just breathe into it. And then I'm not going to keep you here for too long, just want to get in, get out. So now you would elevate up like that. And then we're going to go this way. We're going to go to the other side. We lift up our leg. Now this one slides down. Now we're going to go, this leg opens to the side, like this, into a butterfly, making sure hips stay straight so we're not rotating. And then you would just hang out in your butterfly. So this might seem like a slow-paced class, but it's for someone who really, really needs to get into their hips, to start getting them to release a little if they're super stiff after a long flight, a long drive. Can happen to anyone. So this is that external rotation. You'll start to feel like it's opening a little bit. You'll feel, shouldn't feel painful. If it feels painful, come back out. And then once you come back out, have 2 pillows on each side. Just test it first. Go easy, slow. Is it okay to let both knees come out? And just, you can put pillows under both knees to give a little extra support. And then gravity's just pressing down on those inner thighs. You'll feel the crease of each hip socket, each hip joint. You could have your knee on a pillow on each side. And then we can get tight because our shoulders can round forward if we spent too much time at the computer without opening and stretching. So then maybe you would just have your palms face the sky. Relax your shoulders down away from ears, chest open. And you would just relax. Breathe. Collarbones wide. Just open chest, shoulders. Just trying to let the body release, relax. When we breathe tight, shallow breaths, we have the accessory muscles that get super tight in our shoulders, our neck. So just by taking deeper, longer inhales, exhales, maybe inhale through nose, exhale through mouth, soften, let breastbone fall down. And then that way you can be really calm, peaceful, and you oxygenate the lower lobes of the lungs. So we want to use our diaphragm, our true respiratory muscle. That way you don't overuse all the smaller accessory muscles, the shoulders and neck. And then this gives you a chance just to open up a little bit. And then you'll notice how from the first time you started, now the knees have opened more and gravity's just gently easing them down. Now you would just slowly bring the knees back in. Maybe you would hug one leg in at a time so that low back stays in contact with the mat. You could even like flex the foot a little bit, like that as you pull under the knee, flex the foot, stretch, that back's on the mat. And then switch sides, maybe hug this leg in. That back is still on the mat. One more deep inhale. Now maybe just reach under the knee so you don't apply pressure. See if that's okay on your back. Release your back. Breathe into the space right in between your shoulder blades. Breathe into the space in the low back, right in the center of it. And then gently release. And just release one leg at a time. And then I'm just going to have you do one leg at a time. Just this little windshield wiper out. In, just real slow and easy. Just release the leg. Okay, now the other side. Just let the leg, notice how I'm not turning my hips. I'm just keeping them straight. I'm doing that to support your back. Just to make sure you don't twist the spine, making the back hurt. All right. And then the last thing I'm going to have you do, if you extend the legs out straight, if it hurts your low back, you can put a bolster under the knees like that, because if you go like that, sometimes the back will arch, but you can put something under the knees like that, like under both knees, just to give some support. And then you'll see how the front of the hips feel. You can feel how the front of the hips feel right there. They should feel a little bit more released and open so they don't catch. And then you could just kind of hang out for a little bit with a bolster under the knees for a little extra support. Just letting the legs go out. A little shavasana. And you're just letting your body just feel what it just did. And then just slowly fold in. Turn to your side. And then here's something we'll finish with lifting up the leg. Draw a straight line from knee to hip. See if you can do circles here. 4, without moving the pelvis. 3, it's not an ankle circle, it's the femur bone circling. 2, tighten core to spine. Last one, and then we're gonna go the other way. Inhale, exhale, squeeze the side of your hip and glute. 5, 4, your pelvis is stabilized. 3, and then 2. Last one. Excellent. All right. And then you'll just slowly turn to the other side. I'm going to have you do almost straight and just bend the knees a baby bit. And we're going to activate a different part of the glute than when you do your clam. You're going to get your bigger glute, the glute max. So you're almost straight. Clam is a little closer in. You're just knee bent a tiny bit. Now just go like that, knee to sky, hold. You're going to get under the glute, hold. 9, 8. Notice how my legs are almost straight, but not quite. 7. So it's a little different area of the glute doing the clam. 6, tighten core to spine. 5, 4, and 3, and 2, squeeze side of hip and glute. Last one, you're gonna feel under the glute. That glute max turns on that major glute, the top. So if you do clam a little bit more knees bent, then you're gonna get your side glute, glute medius, but we just got the glute maximus. So now you're gonna come to the other side slow. Sometimes blood pressure can change fast, so when you get up or down, just give yourself a moment. And then I'm gonna have you do this side now. And then the first one, bend the knees. You can have a pillow under your head from the hip to the knee. Inhale, exhale. Tighten core to spine. 4. And then 3. 2 more. Keep pelvis stabilized. Last one. Now reverse it. Inhale, exhale. Hip to knee. 4. Tighten core to spine. 3. Keep pelvis stabilized. 2. Last one. Excellent. Now you're going to almost straighten out your legs and then just bend them a tiny bit in because I want to get a different area of your glute. Heels pull together, toes turn out. Now you're going to feel it already. You can feel that glute. And then you're just going to lift the legs, squeeze under that glute, lower down. You can even put your hand on your glute. You could feel it working. You just lift up the knee. Your legs are almost straight, so it's not that traditional clam. Legs are almost straight. 8, squeeze. 7 and 6. You'll feel that glute. 5, 4, 3, 2 more. And last one. Excellent. Good job. And then you'll just slowly, you're going to press to a seated position. You don't want to just jump up and see stars. So give yourself a sec. And then you just push up. All right. And then if you're seated and you ever wanted to do, like you could sit on a bolster or folded up blankets. You could also get your hips to open just by doing this. The butterfly, the seated butterfly, seated up on a bolster or a yoga block. You give yourself more space, so you create a little angle here. And then just let the hips release this way, but make sure you're equal weight on each sits bone. You could even go like that, do one leg at a time. You don't have to lean forward or anything, just let that hip open. Just sit tall, take a couple breaths here. Maybe do that on the other side, the leg comes in. You're just gonna sit tall, make sure I'm not even on the block. There we go. So make sure you don't feel like you're gonna fall off the block. Just let that hip release. And then that's it. We did it. So I hope this helped. And if you try to sit like with legs crossed, like when the hips are really tight, they'll be up here. And over time, as you keep doing that external rotation, they just naturally start to drop more. So, and you'll feel it like right in the front there. So hope this helped. Thank you for watching. Appreciate you. Take care, everyone. Peace. See you again soon. Bye. So gotta take care of the hips for sure. Peace. Bye.